Hello, Star Wars fans and collectors. It's me, Jedi Master 98, back again with another Star Wars live stream on the YouTube channel. In tonight's live stream, we're going to be going over the Star Wars Conversations episode 20. That is indeed the Book of Boba Fett. Now, what I'm going to be doing in tonight's stream, like with the previous streams I've done, I'll be going over the events and things that have happened in the first ever series of the Book of Boba Fett. Now we're going to obviously go through the characters, the episodes, and all the major Easter eggs and spoilers that did appear in the series, and obviously what to expect for any future content as well. So let's get the Star Wars Conversations episode 20, the Book of Boba Fett, underway. So as per usual, I've just obviously got my notes that I've written down. We'll obviously go in detail, talk about the episode, and just expand on what I'm going to be talking about in this series, go through episode by episode. Obviously, with the Book of Boba Fett, there are 7 episodes, so I'll be going through 7 episodes, talking about it. Hopefully, there will be a few people in the comments as well. And obviously, we can go from there and expand more on upcoming series and what to expect for the future of Star Wars. So before I start off with diving into it, I'm just going to check to see if there's any action in the comment sections. So there's Oak99, he's mentioned hello there. Sorry I'm not able to stick around for long. Enjoy your stream, mate. That's not a problem. So let's crack on with the stream itself. Now what I'm going to do is we'll dive straight in and let's talk about the Book of Boba Fett. So I'll just give you a rundown on obviously what the Book of Boba Fett is, if some people are not aware. Now, basically, what the Book of Boba Fett is, it is an American space western television created by Jon Favreau for the streaming service Disney+. It is part of the Star Wars franchise, taking place after the events of Return of the Jedi, and is a spin-off series from The Mandalorian. The Book of Boba Fett follows bounty hunter Boba Fett from The Mandalorian and other Star Wars media as he establishes himself as the new crime lord of Jabba the Hutt's former territory. The series crosses over with The Mandalorian and its other spin-off, Ahsoka. Tamar Morrison stars as the title character, with Ming-Na Wen and Pedro Pascal also starring. All reprise their roles from The Mandalorian and other Star Wars media. A standalone Star Wars film centered on Boba Fett is in early development at Lucasfilm before the company began prioritizing streaming series such as The Mandalorian. A potential spin-off series was first reported in November 2020 and was officially announced by Favreau in December. The film had begun by that point and lasted until June 2021. In addition, Favreau, Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, and Colin Wilson returned from The Mandalorian as executive producers, and joined by Robert Rodriguez, who also directed 3 episodes. The Book of Boba Fett premiered on December 29th, 2021, and ran for 7 episodes until February 9th, 2022. The series has received generally mixed reviews from critics. So that's just basically the what's about the Book of Boba Fett. And I've just read that, so let's dive into the main part of the series, which is obviously the episodes. So we're going to start off with that. So the first episode is Chapter 1, Stranger in a Strange Land. And basically that is Boba Fett barely escapes from the Sarlacc pit that swallowed him and is left dead by Jawas who steal his Mandalorian armor. He is captured by Tusken Raiders and fails to escape their camp. 5 years later, Fett and Fennec Shand have taken control of Jabba's criminal empire on Tatooine. They receive tribute from local dignitaries and gain services of 2 Gamorrean guards. Fett and Shand visit the sanctuary, a cantina in Mos Espa run by Garsa Furwhip, who also offers a tribute. Outside the cantina, the group is ambushed by assassins whom they fight off. Shand captures one of the assassins after pursuing them across the rooftops. The guards take the injured Fett to the palace and place him in a Bacta tank for healing. Fett remembers his time with the Tuskens. he and Rodian prisoner were forced to dig for black melons in the desert until they were attacked by a large sand creature called Rodian. Fett killed the creature, saving a Tusken child and earning the respect of the tribe. So that's basically the first part of the episode. Now I'm just going to go on to my part, which I've just done here. So episode 1 starts on Tatooine, Jabba's palace and the throne room. Boba Fett is in a bacta tank, obviously recovering. Flashbacks to Camino, Geonosis, that a particular scene on Geonosis that did get a little bit of flack from Star Wars fans due to the large creature that wasn't in that particular scene. Obviously the one that Obi-Wan, Padme and Anakin ride. Then we see Bubba stuck in the Sarlacc pit. Eventually, obviously, we see a Stormtrooper's helmet, which he obviously uses to breathe, and obviously eventually uses his flamethrower to escape. He climbs out of the sand, and obviously we see Jabba's ship that is destroyed in the background, and leaves the pit. Later on in the evening, Jar steals his armor. Tusken Raiders appear and discover Fett. He's then taken and obviously he's become prisoner. The Tuskens beat Fett up, and then Fett eventually escapes, but the Rodian gives up his position. Then the Tuskens chase him. Boba fights the Tusken and is defeated. Fennec Chan wakes Boba Fett and he puts on his armor. People want to pay their respects. Boba Fett acquires 2 Gamorrean guards, loyal to Jabba and Bib Fortuna. Fett and Fennec Shand go into a bar, and we see a couple of members from Jabba's band from his palace. Bubba and Fennec Shand are ambushed by warriors and aided by the Gamorrean guards. Bubba gets back in the bacta tank. Flashback to him and the Tuskens. Obviously, the prisoners are taken for a walk to discover thugs stealing from other people. The Rodian is digging and discovers a 4-armed creature. The Rodian gets killed, and Boba Fett saves the young Tusken and kills the beast by obviously decapitating his head, and he takes the head back to camp. So that was pretty much it for the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett. And I have to say it was a decent opening. Obviously, we got flashbacks towards obviously items from Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where obviously we see young Boba Fett on Camino, and obviously Boba Fett from another shot where he was looking at his father's helmet. Obviously, I know that particular scene did get a little bit of flack from Star Wars fans, obviously due to that large creature being in it. The episode's good. It gives you a brief insight on obviously what Boba Fett was up to. We obviously see him escape the Sarlacc pit, and obviously he's badly wounded, obviously due to the acid that the Sarlacc pit gives off. And obviously we see him eventually use part of a Stormtrooper's helmet to obviously breathe and obviously help himself out and recover. Obviously he escapes. He has his armor taken off for him, which obviously who's the character? Covan eventually uses, and obviously Mandalorian eventually discovers that, and Boba Fett eventually tracks him down. But it's a good eye-opener from both stories. We get flashback scenes, and we get an up-to-date version of Boba Fett, obviously taking over Jabba's kingdom. The episode did explain a few things as well. Some people could say it could have been a little bit better the way Boba. Personally, I'm not really bothered by that. I'm just grateful that we've got Star Wars media and Star Wars content that is done right and obviously done efficiently. And I think they hit that on the nail of the head. It's good to see another version, obviously, of the Tusken Raiders as well. Sometimes we see the Tusken Raiders as being these vicious, these vile creatures that just hunt people for slavery. But we then see a different side of the Tuskens, obviously training young Tuskens to become warriors. And eventually later on the line, we see them obviously help Boba Fett eventually recover and obviously learn his roots and obviously the way of the Sand people. I thought it was very good, the scene where they went into Mos Espa and they were obviously fighting the assassins. Obviously, Boba Fett wasn't up to scratch, but eventually managed to take a few out, and despite being injured in the first place. Fennec Shand, she obviously wasn't mucking about. She just obviously took one prisoner, but obviously killed another one of the assassins and everything. And it's good to see like flashback scenes where he was with the Tuskens and obviously recovering at the same time. And obviously that large four-armed creature, something we've never really seen before in Star Wars. Obviously we've seen creatures and obviously robotic animals with four arms and many limbs, but never something like that. But it's very good. Obviously he did no mucking about with the road and he killed him instantly by obviously bashing his head in the sand and killing him. And obviously the young Tusken Raider eventually took his head back to the Tusken camp, obviously as a trophy. But overall, the first episode did explain a lot. Obviously, people want to pay their remarks to Fett, and obviously, some people are not happy with Fett as the main man in Mos Espa. But the episode did explain a lot. I really did enjoy it. And the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett, it was entertaining. Like I said, a lot going on. The flashback scenes were very good. There's good characteristics from both sets of scenes, i.e. the flashbacks and obviously the up-to-date version of the Book of Boba Fett, seeing what he's doing. But the episode did explain a few things, and it was nice to see a few Easter eggs as well from Return of Jedi. Likewise with the Gamorrean Guard and part of the Max Rebo band. So yeah, credit to Jon Favreau and his team for doing that. And yeah, it did explain a few things. So that's pretty much it for the first episode. Not really much to say. Obviously, I've just explained it there in detail and everything. So you got sort of a flashback and an idea on what this is about. But the first episode did explain a few things, and I did like the flashbacks through the scenes. That was good. Moving on to episode 2, that is the Tribes of Tatooine. Now, the Tribes of Tatooine, that's basically Fett and Shand interrogate the captured assassin who claims to have been hired by Mok Sheriz, the mayor of Mos Espa. Sheriz denies this, but offers payment to Fett, capturing the assassin, and suggests that they visit the sanctuary again. Whip informs Fett that 2 of Jabba's cousins, a pair of Hutts known as twins, want to claim Jabba's throne for themselves. The twins arrive with the Wookiee bounty hunter Kran and try to intimidate Fett, but he refuses to submit. In the back to tank, Fett remembers the Tuskens teaching him the style of combat and desert survival skills. After the tribe was attacked by a Pike Syndicate spice train, Fett stole speeder bikes from a nearby Nikto gang and taught the Tuskens how to ride them. He led the tribe in a successful attack to stop the train and warned the surviving Pikes that they would have to pay a toll to enter Tusken territory in the future. To be admitted into the Tusken tribe, Fett was guided by a lizard inside the head to a branch, which he turned into his Rarifi stick. The tribe then held a ceremony to accept him as one of their own, basically. So the second episode does offer some more content. We're slowly but surely seeing Boba Fett rise through the ranks with the Tuskens. So I'll just read you the part I've taken here as well. Fennec Shan returns with the prisoner. Obviously, she captured him. Order of the Night Wind assassins for hire. They discover that the mayor of Mos Espa has obviously sent those to send a message. The mayor orders the assassin to be shot. Fett heads to the sanctuary for answers. We then discover the twins, members of Jabba's family, and then we then see Cranston, obviously a bounty hunter Wookiee. They are cousins to Jabba and want to claim his territory after Jabba's death. Another flashback scene to Tatooine many years ago. Boba Fett is obviously getting trained by the Tuskens, and then we hear a large, loud sound, and a train is carrying the Pike Syndicate. Opens fire on the Tuskens. They burn their dead eventually, and Boba Fett eventually fights a gang of Nikto speeder bike gangs in the bar after obviously antagonizing a young couple and everything. And obviously he then eventually confronts them bar after they confronted some of the customers. He returns to the camp with speeders. The Tuskens train on speeders and prepare for the battle. Boba Fett and the Tuskens Attack the train and discover important items to the Pikes. A small lizard eventually goes into Boba Fett's head and obviously guides him. He has a vision with a tree and discovers the weapon he uses. They take the tree branch. Boba Fett becomes part of the tribe, and Fett finishes making his weapon. So that's just basically much similar to what I've just read there. Obviously, it's the exact same thing. So we're basically discovering that even though Fett has obviously killed this large creature in the first episode, we discover that he wants to try and reclaim some old roots and try and learn from his past. He wants to become part of the Tusken tribe. And it's very good how the Tuskens eventually bring him in as one of their own and train him in the ways, obviously, the Tuskens. Obviously, beforehand, obviously, the assassins were sent to hunt down and kill Boba Fett, but obviously they failed, and eventually he opens his mouth by obviously being released to the Rancor, but obviously there's no Rancor. And he mentions that he was sent by the mayor, which obviously is a bit strange. Excuse me. And we basically get a glimpse on obviously what these assassins are like and everything. And eventually the mayor obviously orders the assassins to be shot. And obviously he's still looking for more answers and everything. And it's really good, like I said, with the first episodes, how they're flashing back with scenes and everything. And obviously one of the biggest twists in the episode 2 of that show is in the twins, that is Jabba's cousins. Quite unique characters, I must say. They're very peculiar in their own way, but obviously they are large huts, considering obviously they are part of Jabba's family. And before carrying on, I'm just going to check if there's any more comments. They are large. Oh no, let's just mute that. Sorry about that. No more comments in a minute. So if you've got any comments later on in the chat, everyone, then please take to write some comments. So where was I? I mentioned obviously the assassins were eventually going to kill him. Obviously, we did see a character that some Star Wars fans are familiar of from the comments, and that is Cranston. Obviously, he's a bounty hunter Wookiee that appears in a couple of Star Wars comics, and I think there was a comic where he tried to, assassinate Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think I'm right in saying that. So we definitely have seen him in the Star Wars comics before, and that's quite useful. Excuse me. Just had to quit a quick drink. But yeah, Cranston, he's an interesting one. The cousins as well. Obviously, they want to try and reclaim Jabba's territory as best they can by obviously sending a message to Boba Fett to say this is our land. Obviously, Jabba's not here no more, but obviously Boba Fett is the one controlling the shots and everything. He wants to send a clear message out to the people of Mos Espa to say, you're not going to mess about while I'm in charge. I'm the new boss in town. So it's good to see other versions of the Hutts as well. We've seen them obviously in the Clone Wars and everything, but fair play to... excuse me. Sorry about that, everyone. Just had to yawn. It's very interesting to see how some of the, looks like servants carrying them as well. I mean, there's 2 huts on there. I mean, they're big huts, and they're literally just standing there like that, carrying them. I don't know how they did that, but fair play to them. Like I said, they're big huts. But it's good to see other huts in the Star Wars series. That was also a massive thing for Star Wars, and obviously fair play to them for doing that. Where was I? After we see the huts, cousins to Jabba, and obviously the other flashback we see is obviously Tatooine many years later, and obviously he's training some of the Tuskens to fight and everything, which was very good. Obviously Tatooine many years ago, he's getting trained by the Tuskens, and then we hear obviously the large train. There's this large train that comes through the outskirts of Tatooine. Obviously there's Pike syndicates on there, and obviously they're picking off the Tuskens like rats and everything, shooting many of them, and obviously a lot of them do get killed, and they eventually burn their dead, obviously as a sign of respect and everything. And Boba Fett's not happy. He wants to try and He wants to try and reclaim some responsibility for the Tuscans. He's training in the arms of the Tuscans, and he wants to try and get one over the people who have shot basically his new family. And obviously he goes to this bar as well, and obviously there's a Nikto speeder bike gang in there, and obviously he fights the gang of basically you can call them thugs. They're antagonising a young couple in there and everything by taking their food and I think drink, and Boba Fett's not mucking about. He smacks a load of them over the head and says, right, don't mess with these people, I'm the one in charge. And eventually takes the speeders away and obviously gives them to the Tuscans. They train with the speeders and eventually have like one big battle to sort of engage the train on that day. They lose obviously a couple of men, i.e. in a crossfire shooting at the train, obviously men on speeders, and it's a really important battle. They're going from left to right and everything. Oh, excuse me again, keep yawning, sorry about that everyone. They're obviously in a really important battle. They're obviously going from left to right, trying to get on the train as quick as they can. One of them, obviously a couple of them get shot, one of them gets wounded, and they're really trying hard to make their way up the train and eventually take out the train driver responsible for driving the train. And as I said, they discover that they're important items to the Pikes, and then the small lizard, they obviously eventually win the day by obviously telling the Pikes that you've obviously got to pay up. And obviously the small lizard goes into Bubba's head and eventually guides him. He has a vision of a tree and obviously discovers the weapon that he uses. He takes it from the tree branch, and then eventually Bubba becomes part of the tribe, and then eventually finishes his weapon that he uses to establish himself as a Tusken. They've taken him in as one of their own, and he's become one with the tribe. But the main talking point in that episode was obviously engaging with the Pike Syndicate and saying that while you're here, you've got to pay the Tuscans or else you're in trouble. So that was that's pretty it for episode 2. An interesting episode, a lot going on as well. Obviously, we're seeing the early stages of Boba Fett eventually getting his strength back and trying to reclaim his sort of prestigious reign and figure to say that I'm the man in town to fear. And I think they covered that really well, especially with the lizard part and obviously him discovering his weapon. And fair play to Miles on that as well. So that was been episode 2, the tribes of Tatooine. So I hope I've explained that as much as I can. The other episode we're going to move on to next is episode 3. And that is the streets of Mos Espa. Now, yet again, before I move on, I'm just going to check the comment section to see if there's anything in there. There's no more comments in there, so if you are watching now or later on, please don't hesitate to leave me some comments in the comments section. So what I'll do is we'll move on to episode 3. So episode 3 of the Book of Boba Fett is the streets of Mos Espa. Fett is asked by a watermonger, Lothra Peel, to punish a gang of cyborgs who are stealing his water in Mos Espa, claiming that the citizens of Tatooine do not respect Fett yet. Upon seeing that the gang has no work, Fett employs the cyborgs as enforcers and demands that Peel reduces prices. Excuse me. Keep yawning. I'm so sorry, everyone. In his back to tank, Fett recalls seeking the toll from the Pikes on behalf of the Tusken tribe, only to find that the tribe destroyed by the Nikto gang on his return. His memories are interrupted when Fett is attacked by Cranston. Fett, Shand, and the guards and the cyborgs fight off and capture the Wookiee. The twins soon apologise for sending Cranston, claiming that Shaz has promised Jabba's territory to another syndicate. The twins vow to leave Tatooine and give a Rancor to Fett. After realising Cranston and resolving to train the Rancor, Fett goes to Mos Espa with Shand and cyborgs to question Sheriz. They find the mayor absent but chase down is Major Domo, who reveals that Shaz is working with the Pikes. Later, the Pikes begin arriving in Mos Espa, and Fett decides to prepare for war. So that is the briefing of episode 3, The Streets of Mos Espa. Now, the thing I'll refer to my notes. Mos Espa is obviously controlled by 3 families, and Boba Fett and Fennec Shan are waiting to find out who's in control. A man arrives into the palace to discover Fett is in charge. He wants the streets to be cleaned up. Half man, half machine cyborgs obviously taking water and everything. Fett offers them work, and the debt is paid. Flashback to Camino. He watches his father leave. Fett arrives in Mos Eisley to talk business with the Pike Syndicate, or Mos Espa. Protection rackets. Boba Fett arrives back to his camp, obviously in the flashback scene, to discover that everyone is dead, and a message is on the tent. It's a speeder bike gang. Fett burns the dead, and then Cranston eventually pulls Fett out the battle tank, attacks him, and obviously takes control. Cranston is placed in the pit where the Rancor is, obviously being bruised and battered by other people, and that's alongside including Fett. The twins arrive at at Jabba's palace with a gift, a new Rancor. Cranston is released. Boba Fett wants to bond Rancor. Boba and Fennec Shan return again to see the mayor. The mayor's advisor escapes in a land speeder. There's a great speeder chase, and obviously goes through the streets of Mos Espa. He eventually gets captured, and then eventually the Pikes arrive at Mos Espa to eventually claim control of part of that planet. So that's pretty much it for episode 3, The Streets of Mos Espa, the description side of it. Now we're just going to get into the nitty-gritty part of that. So obviously the main point of episode 3, The Streets of Mos Espa, is obviously this man. He's coming to the palace. He's wanting to know what Fett's about. Obviously, he's accusing half men, half women, half cyborg of obviously stealing water. And obviously, they're basically just trying to look for work and everything. And he decides to offer them as muscle, saying, right, you work for me. You get, like I say, a small percentage of a cut if you'll be my protection racket. They obviously agree. And obviously, the other man eventually decides to lower his price of water. Where's the next bit? Obviously, he mentions that the debt is paid off, and obviously we see the flashback of Camino where he's eventually leaving, and Fett eventually arrives in Mos Espa to talk business with the Pike Syndicate, talking about protection rackets and everything. And obviously that's when he was with the Tuscans and everything. And obviously Bubba returns at the camp. It's completely destroyed. There's dead bodies. There's dead breeders everywhere. And there is a speeder bike motto or symbol on the side that the Nikto speeder bike gang are responsible for the death of his Tuscan family. And obviously Boba Fett keeps that to his chest, and obviously has quite a grudge with them eventually. And obviously later on in the series we discover that grudge eventually being washed off his chest and eventually paid off due to his vengeance and revenge, which is very cool. As I mentioned, the debt is paid off and everything. Obviously the speeder bike gang obviously responsible for what's going on, and then once we see the end of that, we see him back in the back tank, and this big large Wookiee eventually attacks him, throws him out the tank. He's pulling punches, he gets bitten, he gets stabbed, and obviously Shan and eventually the cyborgs are fighting Cranston. This big huge Wookiee is throwing punches with sort of like his big metal electric knuckle dusters are where fighting him, knocking down anything. He gets stabbed a few times, he gets punched, he gets thrown away. He's like this big massive Wookiee, which is so hench and huge. And eventually they lure Cranston into a trap, and obviously he's put down into the pit where obviously the Rancor is, but obviously we know there's no Rancor because obviously it died all them years ago at the hands of Luke Skywalker. And obviously he's placed in the pit where the Rancor used to be. And eventually we see the twins. These big, large huts have returned again. They obviously sent Cranston as a message to try and sort out Boba Fett. Obviously Fett survived. They're quite impressed, obviously, with what Fett has done in sparing Cranston. And he wants to basically bond with the Rancor. They've offered him a gift, and he wants to try and be the best owner possible to a Rancor. So that was an interesting touch there. Boba Fett and Fennec Shand eventually return to see the mayor and everything. Obviously, before that, Cranston is released. And he goes to visit the mayor. Obviously, the mayor is disappeared. There's a surprise. And eventually, his second in command, his advisor, eventually escapes. There's a speeder bike chase through Mos Espa with so many fruit and other characters in the way. He eventually crashes his speeder, and he's eventually captured by Fett and his cyborgs. And before the end of that happens, we see a load more Pike syndicates eventually arrive on Mos Espa, and basically saying that we're here to take control. So that's pretty much it for the third episode of The Mandalorian, the Streets of Mos Espa. It wasn't sort of a major eye-opening episode and everything, but it did explain a few things and everything. Obviously, it did explain part of Cranston's role as well, saying he's obviously hired muscle to try and get the job done as quick as he can. Very interesting. I did like the fight scene there between Fett and obviously Cranston, obviously his other cyborgs and characters as well. The mayor's advisor, obviously escaping. Excuse me for yawning again. The speeder bike chase scene through the streets of Mos Espa. Interesting, very cool. Obviously, they want to try and capture him to get the answers and everything. But obviously, the main point of this episode, obviously, was Fett returning to his camp, knowing that his Tusken family had been killed by Nikto speeder bike gangs. And then later on in the episode, we eventually, episodes, we know that obviously other people were responsible for that mass killing. But it's nice to see another Rancor appear in the Star Wars universe, a little Rancor at this period of time. I mean, obviously they are big, but obviously little at the same time. So that was interesting. And it was an interesting battle, and obviously a decent episode to watch. So I can't fault that. Before I move on to episode 4 of the Book of Boba Fett, I'll check out the comments to see what's happening in there. So bear with me 1 minute, everyone. Let's have a look. So there's no more comments at the minute. If there's any more comments or people watching, then please don't hesitate. Just fire them in. I'll be happy to answer them. So there's no comments there. So we're going to move on to episode 4, the Gathering Storm. So I'll just read out the description there on what the Gathering Storm's about, and then we'll dive into the main part of it. So chapter 4, the Gathering Storm. In the back to tank, Fett remembers trying to claim his fire prey gunship from Jabba's palace, which was heavily guarded. When he's discovered Shan dying from a gut wound, Fett took her to a Mos Eisley mod parlor where her life was saved by cybernetics. In return, Fett requested Shan's help to break into the palace, now ruled by Bib Fortuna. After fighting the guards and retrieving Fett's ship, Shan decided to stay with Fett. They killed the biker gang that Fett believed to have massacred his Tusken tribe before flying to the Sarlacc pit to retrieve his armor. Shan killed the attacking Sarlacc with a seismic charge, though Fett did not find his armor inside. In the present, Fett emerges from the back to tank fully healed. He witnesses Cranston fighting Trandoshans in the sanctuary and hires him. At a banquet, he urges Mos Espa and other crime bosses to unite against the Pike Syndicate, but they refuse. With the Rancor's presence, Fett convinces them to remain neutral while he fights the Syndicate alone. Shan suggests that they hire reinforcements for immediate war. So that's basically the gist of the episode 4, The Gathering Storm. Now what I'll do is I'll just go on to my part where we're talking about it, and then we'll go into it in more detail as well. So The Gathering Storm. Boba Fett makes his way into Jabba's palace. Night falls, and we see a big banquet of food and feasts as well, which is very, very big and massive as well. Boba Fett eventually discovers. Actually, no, I've read the wrong bit there. Sorry about that. I've skipped ahead. Sorry. Boba Fett makes his way to Jabba's palace to see what's going on. Night falls and we see a couple of flares in the sky. Boba Fett discovers Fennec Shan's obviously body on the floor. Obviously, she's got a stomach wound, and obviously that's the fight scene from The Mandalorian where she got shot. He then takes her to a robot shop to get her wound healed up. Fett pays the man and helps Fennec Shan get better. They plan on getting Slave One back from Bib Fortuna's guards. And there's a funny thing that makes you laugh where obviously he's getting along with his bantha. Go old girl, make beautiful bantha babies. That was a line that really did make me laugh, and it's a few memes and a few lines in the Book of Boba Fett that's made a few Star Wars fans laugh. We eventually see Fennec Shan and Boba Fett go to Jabba's palace. A small drone returns and obviously makes their way into the palace. Beforehand, obviously, they send a little drone to discover what's going on. We then see two droids in the kitchen, one of them from Return of the Jedi, the cooking droid with many arms and large knives, and then we see the rat catcher droid, a little one there. They make their way into the hangar, and obviously with drama going on in the background. Fennec Shan and Fett engage the guards at the palace. Fett brutally kills. They eventually escape and obviously take the Slave One from Bib Fortuna. Boba Fett brutally kills the speeder bike gang with no mercy. There's advantage to people thinking you're dead. They make their way to the Sarlacc pit and everything, and eventually the Sarlacc pit grabs the ship as the ship goes over, and they eventually use a seismic charge to destroy it, and obviously that iconic sound as well. Fett and Shan form an alliance to rule together. Cranston is also chilling in the casino. He fights the Trandoshan. He pulls one of his arms off. Fett offers Cranston a job. Bubba meets with the three families that control parts of Mos Espa. They want an alliance to stop the Pikes from taking control. Some of them are hesitant at first, but obviously he notified them with a large rancor that appears at the bottom, obviously, of his pit. So that is descriptions for Star Wars Book of Boba Fett Episode 4, The Gathering Storm. Obviously, this episode is another good episode. It's obviously a flashback episode, briefly, obviously with Fett on his own, trying to make his way into Jabba's palace by getting back his iconic ship from Bib Fortuna. Obviously, the scene from The Mandalorian obviously is a standing out scene in this episode where obviously we see him obviously discover Fennec Shan's body, and he eventually takes her to like a robot shop where obviously she eventually gets her wounds healed, and obviously we see all the wire work and everything used to obviously aid and eventually help Fennec Shan eventually see Fennec Shan return and obviously get better. Obviously we see eventually them return. Obviously they go, Boba Fett return. They go to Jabba's palace, and obviously they use the little little robotic droid they use to obviously spy on Jabba's palace and everything. And there's a funny scene with obviously the kitchen droid and obviously the rat droid, and obviously they sort stuff out there, and it's quite funny. And the scene when they're engaging the guards in Jabba's palace is really cool. Obviously shooting the barrier that obviously opens it up, and obviously shooting all the other guards. Very, very cool there. Some of the scene as well, it's quite brutal. Obviously killing the Nikto speeder bike gangs where Boba Fett's shooting with no mercy, like just brutally pressing, no hesitation. Fantastic. I like it when Star Wars gets dark there. They've always done that well. Many years and everything. Star Wars, that was brutal but very good. And obviously there's an advantage to people thinking you're dead. A good line that they use in the in there. And obviously the Sarlacc pit. People thinking, oh, the Sarlacc pit, is it alive? Is it? No, it's still alive. And you think it grabs obviously Boba Fett's ship, putting it down with the shear weight, and obviously Fennec Shan pushes the button to release obviously a seismic charge, and obviously that iconic sound, it blows up and eventually destroys the Sarlacc pit. Absolutely brutal scene there, obviously killing a large animal that we obviously seen in the Star Wars universe back in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. As I said, Fett and Shan, they obviously eventually form an alliance and obviously want to try and rule together, which is a decent role in my book. Fair enough. They want to try and form an alliance. And Cranston, obviously, he's just chilling there, sitting in the casino, drinking his whatever he is, drinking his alcohol. And obviously, the people who don't follow Star Wars thinking, why is he attacking random creatures such as the Trandoshans, where you know from the Star Wars, the Clone Wars Season 3 episodes where Ahsoka eventually gets captured by Trandoshans. The Trandoshans and the Wookiees don't get on. They don't get on. Obviously, they skin the Wookiees' fur as a trophy and everything. And then when you see the episode in the Clone Wars where Ahsoka eventually gets rescued by the Wookiees, there's obviously Wookiee skin everywhere, and obviously there's probably a reference to that, and obviously it's a reference to the old Star Wars where obviously Han Solo mentioned to C3 Wookiees tend to rip people's arms off when they lose. So there's a good reference there and everything. It was brutal. You see the arm come off and obviously just chucked on the floor, saying like, there's no fucking about there. Cranston, this is big, massive Wookiee looking at him. You look at him thinking this Wookiee ain't fucking about. He will fucking kill you in an instant. You do not want to fuck with this Wookiee because he will sort you out. And that was really cool and dark to see that in the episode of the Book of Boba Fett. And obviously he offers him a job. And obviously the last scene, the three families, it's similar to like say scenes in The Godfather where they obviously want to try and offer an alliance where there's going to be peace. If one of us is attacked, then we're all involved and everything. I sort of got like vibe references there from like say The Godfather and like say other various American mafia films where they're trying to propose something across the table. And obviously if you agree, we'll help you out. If something happens, we'll help you out. And in a way, even if you agree, sometimes not everything's going to follow through. Not every deal's going to be going through. So I really did like that part and everything. And obviously they're debating whether to trust them in a way. Would you not? Not really if you're in that position of power. But it's very, very cool the way they did that. And obviously they want to obviously have an alliance as well. And obviously eventually the Pikes in that scenario as well are taking control. So that's that's pretty much it for episode 4, The Gathering Storm. I hope I've explained that well, my personal opinion and everything. I did like it. It's especially the scene where Cranston was obviously fighting, which one of the arms off. It's dark and everything, but nevertheless very cool for a Star Wars series, I must say. Now, before I move on, I'm just going to check the comments section. There's nothing there. Before we move on to one of 2 of my favourite episodes in the Book of Boba Fett, I'm just going to go to it and we'll discuss more on the Book of Boba Fett. So bear with me, guys. I will be back shortly. Right, I'm back, everyone. Sorry for that slight delay. I was just in the toilet. Right, as I mentioned before, I went to the toilet. Next episode we're going to take a look at is one of two of my favourite episodes in this series of the Book of Boba Fett. Very, very good. Very, very good. These next two episodes. And the next episode we're going to take a look at is episode 5, and that is Return of the Mandalorian. So obviously, from the character from the Mandalorian TV show, Din Djarin returns. I'll just give you the overall of the episode and just refer to my notes, and then we'll discuss this in more detail. So chapter 5 is the Return of the Mandalorian. So after Din Djarin tracks and kills a bounty, he delivers the bounty's head for directions to a Mandalorian hideout. There he finds the armorer and Paz Vizsla, survivors of the tribe, Mandalorian warriors who inspect the Darksaber that he won off Moff Gideon. The armorer explains that whoever wins the Darksaber in combat can become the ruler of Mandalore, though their civilization was destroyed by the Empire. The armorer turns Din Djarin's Beskar spear into a gift for former Charge Grogu. Vizsla, a descendant of the Darksaber's creator Tar Vizsla, challenges Din Djarin to a duel for the saber. Djarin defeats Vizsla, but reveals that he previously broke their tribe's code by removing his helmet. Rejected by the tribe, Din Djarin takes a commercial transport to meet Pillow Motto on Tatooine, who has an old N1 starfighter to replace his previous ship, the Razor Crest. Together they fix and modify the starship, and Din Djarin takes it for a test flight. Upon his return, Fennec Shan arrives and asks Djarin to assist Boba Fett in the upcoming war. He agrees, but only after he visits a friend. And obviously, if you are fans of the Mandalorian like myself, then we know who that little green friend is. So yeah, that was just a brief description of episode 5, Return of the Mandalorian. As I said, this is an absolute fantastic episode, one of two, I must say. Really, really cool episode. Absolutely love this. So let's dive into the episode. As I said, we first see the Mandalorian. Obviously, he enters, looks like a butcher's back room. Din Djarin obviously fights the gangs in the meat locker. And obviously, he kills the person he's after and takes his head as a trophy. But obviously, in the process, Mandalorian's leg is injured. The Mandalorian delivers his prize to the people who employed him for the job, and he then heads to an alley to find his target that he's looking for. We then see the armorer, obviously waiting for the Mandalorian, the larger Mandalorian. What was his name? Paz Vizsla, obviously, is there. Where was I? Obviously, he tends to his wounds. He tends to his wounds. And then they discuss the history of the Darksaber. He gives the Beskar spear to the armorer. And then we see flashbacks of Mandalore being bombed by the Empire and K2SO units, killing the Mandalorians in the process. And they eventually discuss making an item for Grogu. The armorer and Mando train with the Darksaber, the larger Mandalorian, obviously, as I called him. And Mando fights for the Darksaber. Din Djarin defeats his opponent, but he tells the armorer he has removed his helmet and leaves for another challenge. The Mandalorian boards a shuttle and heads off. He gives up his weapons, and we see a Rodin look at Mando, and he lands on Tatooine. Mando helps out the lady, obviously, on Tatooine, obviously he helped before. She lets Mando know that she has a new ship for him, which is obviously an M1 Naboo starfighter, a very iconic ship in the Star Wars universe from the Phantom Menace. They end up putting the ship together. The ship is finally put together. He flies, obviously, the ship at Becker's Canyon, obviously where the first episode was, where obviously the pod race happens. And obviously we even see the fence that isn't repaired from the film that Anakin Skywalker destroyed in The Phantom Menace. Mando eventually gets stopped by 2 X-Wing, and his ships move so quick that they obviously can't track him. He lands the ship back in the hangar. Fennec Shan and Mando meet to discuss muscle for Boba Fett. And then before, obviously, Mando agrees on the task, he needs to see a little friend. And obviously that friend is Grogu. Now I have to say, the episode 5, Return of the Mandalorian, very good, especially the opening scene when obviously he's in that meat locker where he's fighting these large creatures. Obviously he gets wounded in the process, obviously with a big gash on the side of his leg, and he still manages obviously to walk to his employer that he's employed by, so obviously get the job done, and still eventually gets the information he wants. And obviously the information he wants is obviously part of the Mandalorian crew out there, the armorer and the bigger Mandalorian, as I call him. Obviously the bigger Mandalorian tends to his wounds, and obviously they eventually use the large armorer spear that obviously Ahsoka Tano won, and gave it to the Mandalorian as a gift to make a weapon for a protective weapon, I should say, or defense mechanism to his little pal Grogu. Very cool. And obviously we eventually find out what that is that he also the armor uses it for, obviously to protect Grogu. And obviously in the process they're training with the Darksaber, and obviously the larger Mandalorian challenges him in combat. There's a few stuff happening, few stuff going on and everything, and eventually Din Djarin eventually ends up victorious by obviously taking a toll on his body. And obviously he mentions that for them to join his creed, you've obviously got to mention, have you ever taken your helmet off in combat? And obviously he admitted that he did take his helmet off. Obviously we've seen him take it off a few times, obviously in the episode where IG... Oh God, what's the name of the droid from IG? Is it IG-11? IG-11? It's gonna bug me. Let me oh God, what's the name of that droid? That's gonna bug me if I don't remember this. I should remember this. I've recently reviewed the figure. Oh God, what's the name of that figure? Bear with me. Come on, YouTube. Why are you not loading my videos? There we go. IG-11. That's right. Yeah, IG-11. IG-11 eventually sees, obviously, one of the bounty hunters as well in season 2, sees his face as well. Oh, Brian, what's his name now? I've forgotten his name. Oh God, what's his name? Oh God, I need to search this. I need to search it, otherwise it's going to bug me. Mandalorian characters. Oh God, what's his name? It's going to come to me. Watch, it's going to come to me. Migs Mayfield. That's it. Mayfield sees his face, and obviously when he eventually gives Grogu to Luke Skywalker and everyone else sees his face as well. Yeah, that was just bugging me there. I really did like the flashback scene to Mandalore, where you obviously saw the Imperial bombers eventually go on to Mandalore and obviously kill and destroy the Mandalorians and everything. Oh, excuse me. Like I said, do apologise for yawning. Really do apologise. It's been a bit of a long day, so I do apologise about that. Obviously, the K2SO droids, obviously the Imperial security droids, I think they're called, eventually brutally killing the Mandalorians in the process and everything. Very cool. They're very dark and everything. And obviously, I mentioned that obviously the armor made a weapon, a protective item for Grogu, so that was a nice touch and everything. And obviously, the Mandalorian, obviously he's got no ship, and obviously he makes his way to this spaceport where he has to obviously hand over his weapons, and the young kid, the young Rodian, is looking at him. He makes his way to Tatooine, and obviously gets discovered, obviously from a character that we know who looked after Grogu, that there's a new ship. And obviously, as I said, it's an iconic ship. It's the N1 Naboo Starfighter from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Fantastic to see Easter eggs and little sneak peeks from other Star Wars stuff. That's the thing I really love about Star Wars. They use Easter eggs from various shows and series and iconic Star Wars films, and they put them in series and everything. And like even video games, you go, oh, I remember that from that scene. I remember that from that scene. That's what I really like about Star Wars. They get little Easter eggs left, right, and centre, and just plug it into one. And that's really, really good. And obviously, they're repairing the ship. They eventually, obviously, get the ship together. And obviously, he takes it for a test run through Becker's Canyon. And obviously, the iconic scene on the pod race where Anakin wins his first pod race and eventually frees himself as a slave. And eventually goes on to become one of the most influential and iconic Jedi of his era. And obviously, he's up in space as well with the X-Wings. One of the X-Wing pilots we recognise, another one sort of like a young, eager-going X-Wing, wants to get the job done to impress his boss. And obviously, the fight goes from here to like there in a matter of seconds. And obviously, he lands on Tatooine, discusses Fennec Shan's saying there's no price for Fett. I need to see an old friend, and that's pretty much it. But we do get a lot of explanation of stuff going on, everything about the Jedi, saying he's obviously spoken and seen Jedi. He was honest with the armourer that he hasn't respected the rules of combat, obviously with the Mandalorian people, and it's a nice touch. Obviously, what Mando's doing, he's obviously making something for Grogu and everything. And in the next episode, which we'll talk about in a minute, we eventually see the gift that obviously the armor makes from the sphere that he uses. Obviously, he doesn't really need to use the sphere anymore because obviously he's got the Darksaber and the Mandalorian. And it's a really nice touch. Again, excuse me for yawning. Do apologise for that. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for episode 5, Return of Mandalorian. As I said, one of two of my favourite episodes. We get a lot more explanation of obviously what Mandalorian's been up to, what he's doing, obviously what the armourer and the larger Mandalorian have been up to for that period of time. And it's good to see stuff as well from the Mandalorian creep into the Book of Boba Fett. So that's a nice touch there that Jon Favreau has done there. Now, before we move on, yet again, I'm just going to check on the comments. No more comments at the minute, but the next episode we're going to take a look at is episode 6, and that is From the Desert Comes a Stranger. Now, episode 6, From the Desert Comes a Stranger, the best episode from the Book of Boba Fett. So many Easter eggs, plot twists, characters, everything about this episode is brilliant. And you know why? Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni, one of the top tier goats of Star Wars. Brilliant episode. So much going on. So many characters, so much stuff mentioned. Absolutely brilliant. Now I'm going to read the description about it, and then we're literally going to dive in because this is an absolute gem of an episode. So yeah, episode 6, From the Desert Comes a Stranger. Cobb Vanth, obviously the Marshal of Tatooine's Freetown, formerly known as Mos Pelgo, confronts and shoots Pike Spice Runners. Din Djarin flies to the Forested world to visit Grogu and is greeted by R2-D2 and Ahsoka Tano. Tano convinces Din Djarin that his presence will hinder Grogu, so he returns to Tatooine after asking Tano to deliver the gift, a Beskar chain-mail tunic, to the youngling. Jedi Master Luke Skywalker has begun training Grogu, his first student to use the Force. Skywalker helps the youngling remember his home, the Jedi Temple in Coruscant, where we see a Jedi get killed during Order 66 by 501st Clone Troopers. Fett and his allies discuss their manpower shortage, and Djarin travels to Freetown to enlist Vanth and his people. After Djarin leaves, the hired gun, Cadbane, arrives on behalf of the Pikes to order the town to be neutral in the upcoming war. Following a standoff, Bane shoots both Marshall and his deputy. Two Pikes later bomb the sanctuary in Mos Espa. Skywalker, bearing Din Djarin's gives him a choice to Grogu: take the mail chain and stop his training, or take Yoda's lightsaber and to be trained in the arts of a Jedi. And as I said, just from that description I've just read there, so many characters appear in it. R2, Ahsoka, Skywalker, Bane. Cad Bane, a real-life action version of Cadbane. And when I saw him walk out when he was obviously facing Cadbane, you look in there and obviously sitting there and go, this is fucking brilliant. It's so fucking great to see a real-life Cadbane. And I will say one thing as well. Cadbane, sick. The CGI for Luke Skywalker, absolutely brilliant. Honestly, he looked like a fifth member of the Beatles with his obviously his hair and obviously the way it was cut and his shape and obviously his Jedi black robes and everything, especially with the hair. Like I said, you're looking and thinking he's like the fifth member of the Beatles. It's like the old saying years ago where George Best, one of the most iconic British footballers of his time, obviously. In Spain, they referred to him as El Beatle. When you looked at him, search up images of George Best after the stream or during the stream. He had bushy beard and obviously hair like that. He was the fifth member of the Beatles. And obviously Luke Skywalker, in this case, he is another member of the Beatles. But no, fantastic. Obviously, Luke Skywalker, seeing him again was brilliant. R2, Ahsoka Tano as well. Brilliant. But obviously the big heartwarming thing for me especially is Cadbane. Cadbane is easily one of my top 3, top 5 bounty hunters. I mean, if you've been following the channel for a while, you will know that I've got a soft spot for Cadbane, and obviously I'm a massive fan as well, Jango Fett, but Cadbane, especially in the Clone Wars, especially obviously being voiced by Corey Burton, who's played so many iconic Star Wars characters in the series as well. Brilliant. Just seeing him. I know some people, there's a little bit of criticism sort of around the eyes and the wrinkles and everything, but just be fucking grateful we're getting a live action version of Cadbane. He's one of the most slickest and coolest bounty hunters out there. Like with Din Djarin, he's like another version of Clint Eastwood. Like Clint Eastwood is such a cool geezer in his westerns and his action films, but to see him like that, brilliant. And yeah, fair play, absolutely fantastic episode. As I said, we're going to dive into the main part of the episode where we're going to talk about it scene by scene, and then we're just going to go from there, because obviously this is one of the best episodes in the Book of Boba Fett and one of the best episodes they've done lately in Star Wars. Yes, The Mandalorian's got some great episodes, but this, chef's kiss, absolutely brilliant. Right, as I said, episode 6, From the Desert Comes a Stranger. Cobb Vanth appears to discuss things with the Pikes. He shoots 3 of them, of the 4 guys. Obviously, one of them eventually goes back. Mando arrives on the planet. We see our old friend R2-D2. Mando looks for Luke Skywalker. We then see droids moving rocks, and it looks like to be creating Luke's first ever Jedi Academy. And obviously they make a bench for the Mandalorian to sleep and obviously sit down. And then obviously we then see Grogu and Luke Skywalker meditating. Grogu uses the Force to try and eat a frog. Luke then uses the Force to lift the frogs out of the ponds, and Grogu is smiling. Luke and Grogu go for a walk. he obviously is using the Force and moving him along, and he mentions his old master Yoda. Luke mentions to Grogu, "Do you remember the time you were at the Jedi Temple?" And he eventually meditates with Grogu, and we see Operation Jedi Nightfall, which was obviously Order 66. We see 5 First Clone Troopers in action, taking out the Jedi. Mando eventually awakes, and we see Ahsoka Tano to discuss what future is best for Grogu. He gives the gifts to Ahsoka to give to Grogu. Mando leaves, and Grogu senses his presence. Luke gets Grogu to jump. They go on a few Jedi exercises, and we then see the training ball that the Jedi use. Grogu practicing with it, jumping. Luke and Ahsoka chat about obviously what is best for Grogu. He mentions a remark, and obviously Ahsoka Tano is so pleased and chuffed. She mentions that he's so much like his father, which was a nice touch for Star Wars fans, because obviously I think Star Wars fans for a while wanted to see if Ahsoka obviously knew who Luke Skywalker was, obviously Anakin Skywalker's son. So it was a nice touch there. It was a nice tribute to say that obviously you're so like your father. Obviously Anakin was a very caring Jedi as well. So that was a nice touch for Star Wars fans. Really, really nice there. And then we see Mando eventually return to Tatooine to discuss their attack against the Pikes. We then see Mando arrive at the town where Cobb Vanth is waiting for him, and obviously he wants foot soldiers to help Boba Fett. And then we then see someone in the distance. And as I said, watching that episode for the first time, you're looking like that, thinking, "Who's that?" And then when you see the stance and the stand, you go, "That's Cadbane, baby. That is Cadbane, just walking along, hat down, like Clint Eastwood, just doing his own thing." Mentions stuff and everything. He mentions obviously Boba Fett is a cold-blooded killer who used to work for the Empire. Cadbane eventually shoots Cobb Vanth, and he's obviously his deputy. And then obviously eventually after that, 2 Pikes walk into the casino and the place explodes. We then return to Luke and Grogu, and then we see a gift Mando gave him, a silver chest armor, and then we see Luke show Grogu Yoda's lightsaber, and Grogu must choose what he wants: a lightsaber or the Mandalorian's chest armor that was made for him. As I said, excuse me, everyone. So much information packed in. Brilliant episode. So much character development. Very, very cool. And we'll discuss it in a minute after I've just had a drink. But no, this episode, it's so good. I remember sitting down, writing the notes for this before a couple of weeks ago, before obviously I went on air this evening to talk about it, and this one just it's so good. Honestly, it's so good. What Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are doing for the future of Star Wars, they're like I said, they're killing it, man. They're brilliant. Honestly, what they're doing there, they're absolutely superb, and I can't fault them. I can't fault them enough. I think they're a fantastic pairing. They're brilliant at what they do, and fair credit to them. They're like I said, 2 of them in a minute. They're the man. I said they're the men. They're the men. They're superb, and this episode is no question. It's just so good. Brilliant. If you know Star Wars, you know your stuff, you're going to love it. And obviously, let's explain it and go into more detail. Obviously, the start of it, Cobb Vanth, nice to see him again. Obviously, a character that we've seen, obviously, in The Mandalorian. He had a decent relationship with The Mandalorian. Obviously, he helped him out by obviously saying that if you kill this large creature in the Tale of Freetown, excuse me again, keep yawning, sorry about that. If you obviously destroy this obviously large creature, I'll give you Boba Fett's armor. So obviously that's a hint back to the first episode of the second series of The Mandalorian. Obviously, even at the town there, he doesn't want any problems with Pikes. As I said, before Amando arrives on the planet, we see our old friend R2D2 and obviously Luke Skywalker as well training Grogu. That was a nice touch, very similar trait to obviously when Yoda was teaching Luke in The Empire Strikes Back. And I thought the little droids moving the rocks were very cool. It's like, says something small, but it had a lot of detail there, and obviously creating Luke's Jedi Temple or Jedi Academy that we came to know through the episodes 7, 8, and 9. And obviously we see Grogu and Luke meditating, as I said, vibes back to the Empire Strikes Back. And obviously with the frogs, he obviously likes to move the frogs with the Force. And obviously Luke eventually uses the Force and obviously raises them all, and obviously he smiles and everything. So that was a nice touch there. And obviously Luke and Grogu going for a walk. He's obviously just using the Force like that, having his hands up like that, just saying, come on, move along, just use the Force, use the Force. That was a nice touch there. Did make me laugh. And obviously one of the main things that came out of that was obviously the flashback scene, another flashback scene, which they've handled really well. Operation July Nightfall, Order 66. And it was so cool to see 501st and clone troopers, not just any clones, 501st clone troopers back in action, taking down the Jedi in the temple where they were killing the Jedi Masters, Padwans, and younglings as part of Operation Nightfall. Darth Sidious's sinister plan to stop the Jedi rising and obviously taking him and his apprentice out, young Anakin Skywalker. Fantastic flashback scene, really, really good. And obviously, one of the biggest shocks as well, obviously alongside with Cadbane, is obviously Ahsoka. Did not even see her coming, so it's really good to see Ahsoka Tano as well, obviously discussing what the future was like, what's future is best for Grogu. And obviously Mandalorian, obviously he's got an attachment to Grogu, and obviously Grogu's got attachment to him, and obviously certain it's in the Jedi code that obviously Jedi can't have attachments because obviously it can lead to feelings, and obviously sometimes them getting confused and everything. So it's against the Jedi code and everything. Whereas obviously we know from the prequel era, obviously Anakin had a relationship with Padme. Yeah, again, excuse me, I'm going to keep apologising for you and do apologise that. As I said, long day, but do apologise, everyone. Where was I? Basically discussing what's best for Grogu, really. Where was it? Obviously, the Mandalorian eventually leaves Grogu and obviously goes on his way. Luke gets Grogu to jump. He's training the arts of the Jedi, but obviously using the Force and obviously trying to improve his skills and everything. And obviously with the Mandalorian returning to Tatooine to obviously help Boba Fett with the pikes and arrows and everything. So that was a good touch there. And obviously he's practicing everything. Obviously Luke and Ahsoka chat. She mentions so much like your father. Really nice touch there. Obviously for Star Wars fans, as I said, so long waiting to see Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker interact. Obviously she knew who her father was. I mean, she was his Jedi Master, and obviously it was nice to see a little discussion scene there. And also I think it's sort of got a lot of Star Wars fans here, especially the OG ones who've been through the thick and thin watching Rebels, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Clone Wars, everything. Brilliant stuff there. And yeah, that was a nice touch there. As I mentioned, the Mandalorian obviously returns. Obviously goes to Cadbane about obviously talking about foot soldiers. And obviously, as I said, you're sitting there thinking Cobb Van's looked out in the distance there, like say looking in the camera in front of you there, going, who's out in the distance over there? You see this tall figure with like sort of like the Clint Eastwood hat, walking along with his presence. Obviously, like moves his jacket, and obviously got the like the iconic sort of gunslinger with the bolt action revolver. In this case, obviously just a normal revolver or pistol, blaster pistol as you want to call it. And like I said, it's Cadbane. It's fucking Cadbane. It's sick. Like I said, I don't know why some people were complaining. Obviously under the eye area and everything, some of it was a bit odd, but I didn't really have any time to look at that really. It was just it's so cool to see a live action version of Cadbane. They nailed it on the head with the Ahsoka. They nailed it on the head with obviously oh God, what's her name? What's my map me? I keep forgetting characters' names. Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan as well. They've done it well, and obviously the special effects with Luke Skywalker. They've done it really well. They're really impressed with that. And obviously, you mentioned he's a cold-blooded killer who used to work for the Empire. And we see like an iconic Western scene where obviously he shoots one of them, shoots the other, and it's all gone off there. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And obviously the two Pikes, obviously they walk into the casino blows up and everything. And then obviously the last scene, we return to Luke and Grogu, and he's obviously saying to right, you can't have both. You can have one. You can bang my first student, wield the iconic lightsaber of Master Yoda, or you can take the chess piece that the Mandalorian has given you. You can go on the path of the Mandalorian, but you will not be able to become a Jedi because obviously he doesn't want him to obviously, excuse me, have an attack. And eventually in the last episode, which we're going to discuss with in a minute, we decide what Grogu's fate is. But as I said, episode 6, the From the Desert Comes a Stranger, absolutely brilliant. I can't fault the episode. Absolutely loved it. I'm really thrilled that I've managed to chat with you this evening about this episode. Now, before we move on to the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett, In the Name of Honor, I am going to go to the toilet again, and I'll see the comments section if there's anything active there. But we'll be right back in a few moments. Right, I'm back, everyone. Right, so let's crack on to the final part of the Book of Boba Fett, and that is the final episode, and that is episode 7, In the Name of Honor. So let's dive into this episode. I'll read you the final part of the description here. So obviously the final part of the description is chapter 7, In the Name of Honor. R2-D2 flies Grogu, who has chosen Din Djarin's chainmail to Motto's hangar. Excuse me. Bane and the Pike syndicates confront Fett, Shand, and Din Djarin outside the remains of the sanctuary, where Bane reveals that the Pikes killed Fett's Tusken tribe and framed the biker gang. The other crime families betray Fett and attack his soldiers throughout Mos Espa. Fett and Din Djarin send Shirin's Major Domo to distract the Pikes, allowing the pair to attack the group, though they are soon outnumbered. Freetown citizens and the cyborgs arrive to save the pair, but the group are overwhelmed again by two shielded Scorpionic droids. Motto arrives with Grogu, who helps Din Djarin destroy one of the Scorpionics, while Fett's Rancor destroys the other. Bane scares off the Rancor Fett in a gun duel, but Fett kills Bane with his gaffy stick. Grogu lulls the Rancor to sleep, ending its rampage. In Mos Eisley, Shan kills the Pike boss, Sheriz, and the other crime lords. As Mos Espa praises Fett, Din Djarin and Grogu fly away in the N1 starfighter. Later, Vant heals in Fett's bacta tank, with the mod artist standing nearby. So that's basically the description of the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett. Now we're going to get onto the part I want to talk about, which is obviously the main part of the stream, and obviously that's the episode. So let's take a look at the final part of this episode. So, In the Name of Honor, Boba Fett and Fennec Shan and obviously the Mandalorian walk into the destroyed bar or casino to discuss how they're going to defend Mos Espa. Cadbane meets with the Pike Syndicate and the mayor of Mos Espa. Pikes admit killing the Tusken Raider camps. They discuss a plan to stop Boba Fett. Out of nowhere, an X-wing under the control of R2-D2. Grogu arrives. He comes out of the cockpit. We see the chest armor the Mandalorian gave him. They have soldiers in 3 parts of the town to see if an attack will happen. Cadbane and Boba Fett meet again. Negotiations fail and they have no interest in peace. What's that say? A trap is set on all parts of the town, and there are obviously loads of soldiers involved. Fennec Shan helps out their kids, who are half man, half cyborg, and the Pikes move into the main position to attack Fett and the Mandalorian. They send the mayor's assistant out to negotiate, and Fett and Mando catch them off guard, and then the people of Freetown help Fett and Mando. Cranston comes out of nowhere to help the Fett and the gang, despite getting hit and shot many times. The Pikes escape, but there are obviously larger droids with shield generators attacking them. Fett fires a rocket, but the machines keep on coming. Cranston tries to get through the shield generator, but is pushed back. Mando and Grogu reunite, and it's a nice moment where obviously they're both hugging each other. Obviously, the large Rancor is on the loose, with obviously Boba Fett controlled it. The Mandalorian uses the Darksaber on the robot, and Grogu eventually uses the Force to cripple the mechanical droid, and obviously eventually helps the Rancor. Obviously, the Rancor eventually destroys the machine, but there's still one that remains. The Rancor gets cut and shot, but eventually destroys the last robot. Robot goes on a rampage on the right. Cadbane appears to shoot fire in the Rancor's face, and obviously eventually runs off for a bit. And then eventually we see the stand down that we've all been waiting for. Cadbane and Boba Fett face off. Bane obviously shoots Fett twice, I think, but Fett figures out, fights, stabs Bane in the chest with his Tusken Raider spear. The Rancor is on the loose, and obviously they need to stop it. Mando tries to stop it, but the Rancor pushes him out the way. And obviously, the next part, we see Grogu walk over to the Rancor and uses the Force to calm him down. It's a nice moment there. The Rancor falls asleep alongside Grogu when he pets him, which is a nice touch. The Pikes and the three families meet up, and the mayor eventually gets shot and obviously is hung from the ceiling, and everyone in the room is killed by Fennec Shan. Obviously, Fennec Shan, sick bounty hunter, she ain't fucking about. Blood for blood. And then after that happens, everyone bows to Boba Fett. And obviously Fennec Shan, Mandalorian and Grogu leave Tatooine. Grogu's in his cockpit and is constantly banging on the glass saying he wants to go fast one more time. Mando pushes the button and they eventually go flying off into the background. And the Book of Boba Fett finishes. But there's one thing after that. We eventually see the credit scene of Cobb Vanth in the BAFTA tank. And obviously we see the geezer who helped out Fennec Shan, the robotic guy next to him. So whether he's going to have any robotic implants on his chest area or something, or just keeping a watchful eye. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I thought the fighting in the town was good from the people free town. I thought they did that really well. The special effects as well, the Rancor and the riot, that was really, really cool. And obviously the main part of the episode as well was obviously Fett and Cadbane meeting up again. Obviously, Cadbane knew Django, his father. And obviously, if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll know that Cadbane and Fett, they have history. There's been a few things happened as well throughout the past, especially in season 4 of the Clone Wars, where obviously he paid Fett off to start a riot. And obviously, he was fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi undercover of Racco Hardeen, the bounty hunter who supposedly killed Obi-Wan Kenobi. And we saw tension there and everything. And there was an unused, edited Clone Wars episode where you see how Boba Fett obviously got that dent on his helmet. It was obviously a standoff with Cad Bane, so that was an interesting touch there. But like I said, they had history. Fett eventually stabs Bane in the chest. But for some reason, watching it, even when he got stabbed, and I think you saw the part of the dent as well on, or the part of the wound that Cad Bane received on his head as well. Part of me is saying that Cad Bane's not dead, because obviously we know with Star Wars as well, especially in Star Wars, certain characters have a funny way of cheating death, the likes of Darth Maul and looks like Cobb Vanth. Obviously, he's going to be another one in the back to tank. Is one of them as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens there. Whether Cad Bane's alive or dead, who knows? Like I said, people think he's dead, but like I said, the Star Wars universe has very cool ways of bringing cool characters back to life. But it was a brutal kill from Boba Fett, but very good. And obviously, they eventually all bow to him like that to say, "Oh, thank you, Boba Fett, for obviously looking after us and everything." And obviously, the last scene where we see Cobb Vanth in the batter tank, obviously what Boba Fett was going through. Obviously, he was recovering from his wounds from the Sarlacc pit in Return of the Jedi, and obviously we see the robotic geezer who repaired Fennec Shan, whether he's going to the same thing or he's just keeping a watchful eye over him. But apart from that, Grogu, he's reunited with the Mandalorian. The people of Freetown promised to help Boba Fett. The cyborg, half human, half robotic bodyguards of Boba Fett helped him out. And Fennec Shan brutally killed everyone in that room, especially the mayor, by hanging him. She, like I said, she wasn't fucking about, just hanged him. He's just strangled to death. It was brutal scene, but very good. But obviously the last scene, obviously the Mandalorian and Grogu going off into space, which obviously hopefully leads up to season 3 of the Mandalorian. I'm not too sure when it's going to be coming out, whether it be late December 2022 or early 2023 of next year. But apart from that, I'm hoping that the Mandalorian is going to be good. Obviously, currently I'm filming this live stream in May, and obviously this month is Star Wars Celebration, and there's going to be a panel at Star Wars Celebration as well, talking about the Mandalorian, I believe, with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. So obviously stay tuned for that on obviously all the Star Wars social media. So hopefully we may get a teaser trailer for any other Star Wars content coming out. The likes of we may get a second trailer for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, the Bad Batch, the Mandalorian, obviously Cassian Andor series as well, or maybe other trailers to look forward to in Star Wars. But yeah, the Book of Boba Fett. My final thoughts on it. I think the Book of Boba Fett is a good TV show. Some people say it does have its faults. I can understand your opinion there. I was a little bit confused why 2 episodes had a main focus of the Mandalorian in it. But then again, I'm questioning the fact that if they've done a Mandalorian theme there, is Boba Fett going to obviously have a major role in the 3rd season of the Mandalorian? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. The series as a whole, it's good. I've liked to personally see Boba Fett more in action, obviously with his jetpack and obviously his old school skills, obviously more Tusken fighting style and other stuff. The series itself is good. Like I said, everything that you can think of, whether it's successful or not in any franchise, it has its critics. Yes, you can understand people's opinions and everything, but I think it was a good series. Loved the cameos from obviously Luke Skywalker, R2-D2, Grogu, the Mandalorian, Ahsoka Tano, Cobb Vann, Cad Bane. Really cool there. The final episodes were good. Series is good as a whole. Whether they'll be coming back for a second series, which we'll hopefully find out and everything, whether it's got the option to have one more series, we'll wait and see. But apart from that, very impressed with the Book of Boba Fett as a whole. I think it's a decent series. I did enjoy it. The Mandalorian, I absolutely love and adore the Mandalorian. I think that is the bollocks. That is the Mandalorian. It's such a brilliant TV show with such great writing and directors. But the Book of Boba Fett is good for me, but it just falls a little bit short due to the Mandalorian being so good. I mean, the Book of Boba Fett's good, but the Mandalorian's sort of, it's up there. It's brilliant, the Mandalorian. Love it. But the Book of Boba Fett, can't fault it. Decent series. I did like it. And hats off to all the producers, directors, executive producers, and obviously the Star Wars fans sticking by it as well. Because I said, people have moaned a lot when Star Wars was taken over by Disney. Yes, you can argue that the sequel trilogy, the 3 films that have been released, obviously The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker, yes, in their own way, my personal opinion, they are good, but obviously they do have their faults. And obviously the television series we've got, the likes of obviously Clone Wars returning for a final series, Rebels, The Bad Batch, The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi coming out, The Bad Batch Season 2, The Mandalorian Season 3, Cassian Andor, and any other future stuff, Ahsoka Tano series as well. Us as Star Wars fans, I must say, we've been absolutely sport rotten, and it's a hats off as well to Disney Plus as well. I think they've been terrific the way they've handled it. And like I said, when you see people moaning, yes, you obviously got to respect their opinion, but don't get all personal. Like I said, we're in such a privileged position where we are able as fans to sit down and watch these series and love the characters and love everything about the producers and obviously the directors and everything who are major Star Wars fans like us, and we're so grateful. And Yeah, it's just Star Wars is good considering. I mean, George Lucas was fantastic what he done, but considering that from 2005, that was obviously before 2015. That was the last Star Wars film we saw. 10 years later, we got The Force Awakens, which I first time seeing it absolutely loved and everything. It was great, but in between that, the Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, and other stuff as well. The Star Wars The Force Unleashed games, Star Wars The Old Republic, and with Star Wars eventually being sold in, was it 2012 or 2013? I can't remember the exact year, and obviously to where we are now. It has been a terrific journey, and obviously long may it continue. Like I said, everything has its faults, but hats off to Disney, hats off to everyone else. The Book of Boba Fett, it's good, but I do much prefer The Mandalorian, but that is obviously my personal opinion. Everyone's entitled to opinion. And other than that, if I was to rank the Book of Boba Fett out of 10, I would give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. And I'm very pleased as a Star Wars fan to sit down, discuss Star Wars stuff with you on my YouTube channel. And yeah, thank you for tuning into the Book of Boba Fett stream on my Star Wars Conversations live stream. So yeah, that was pretty much it. My big discussion on the Book of Boba Fett. Obviously, I was on my own today. Fancy doing something on my own. Obviously, I usually have a few guests on everything, but I fancy just doing this on my own because I wanted to blitz it through and everything. Like I said, the Book of Boba Fett in its own way, it is good, but I do obviously prefer the Mandalorian more. And I'm very pleased that I managed to do this live stream, and hopefully you can watch it. Obviously, currently now, or sit back and do anything you want during the next few days, few weeks, few months, and just sit down and obviously engage with me in the comment sections about the Book of Boba Fett. So I do appreciate the viewers sticking around to watching this. Just going to move on to a couple of other things I want to talk about, like sometimes doing the stream, and then I'll call it a day, really. So other things going on, the YouTube channel still uploading. Obviously not as many videos as regularly because obviously there's Star Wars stuff I'm still waiting to come out, and obviously I've just been having a breather because obviously there's not much Star Wars stuff coming out in a minute, i.e. with figures. But I've got 3 figures currently at home and a figure on the way to review, so I have 4 figures to review, so stay tuned for that. The YouTube channel is going strong. We're at currently, let me just check. We are currently at 879 subscribers, and that is absolutely terrific. Really, really thrilled with your continued support on the channel. But yeah, the videos haven't been as frequent due to it's not being released yet over in the UK, but I'm very privileged to the continued support and the dedication of the Star Wars community, obviously my community part of Jedi Master 98, who have stuck by it and obviously continue to watch my channel grow over the years. Like I said, I didn't expect really to get sorry about that. I didn't expect to get 100 subscribers, let alone 879 at this current point in time. But I'm very thrilled and very honoured to be part of the Star Wars YouTube community. I think YouTube community is a wonderful thing to be a part of, regardless if you're a Star Wars YouTuber or a multi-millionaire YouTuber with successful gaming and stuff like that. So I'm very pleased and privileged to be a part of this YouTube community, and I'm very pleased to everyone who subscribes, watch my videos, and hopefully soon, whenever, I will be able to reach 1,000 subscribers, because that would be a terrific goal considering a little channel. Like I said, I'm not the biggest channel in the world. I'm not a channel that walks around saying, oh, look at me, I'm a big deal. It's a hobby and I absolutely love it. And yeah, again, thank you to everyone with the support on the channel. Really means a lot. I'm going to hopefully try and post more on social media on my Star Wars Jedi Master 98 Facebook page. And obviously I've got my Instagram page for personal use as well, which you obviously can follow on there. and everything, and obviously try and engage in the community tab on YouTube as well. I'm thinking maybe in the future as well to maybe do some more maybe vlogs. I mean, I've done some vlogs for Star Wars Day Out, but mainly sort of like maybe a weekly Star Wars vlog, like how do I prepare for a review, or how do I clean my Star Wars room, or stuff like that, just to mainly engage with my audience, really, which I'm looking forward to do. I'm hopefully going to do a Star Wars mukbang, which is basically a mukbang is obviously a successful video that's been trending around on YouTube, where basically you eat with loads of friends and you just talk about questions in general, whether it be like say personal life, YouTube, and just basically eating and engaging with your audience, really. So I'm going to hopefully do an eating video, but obviously put a plot twist on it with Star Wars. Obviously got about at least 30 questions as well I've picked out. Obviously I've had sent to me and obviously picked out that I think can engage my audience and everything, and obviously give you a whole new perspective on who I am outside of YouTube. Otherwise, life outside of YouTube, especially since the new year come round, around about January 2022, especially in the UK where I'm from, there was a little bit picky with another spike of a COVID variant happening. But ever since sort of like late January to February, life for me has been brilliant. Been going out as much as I can, socialising with friends. Want to hopefully do a few things with family and everything. But the socialising, i.e. going out for a drink in my local area, going out to a pub, went to a nightclub back in early March this year, which I haven't been clubbing in since November 2019, and it was like February, March 2022, and that was good. Don't enjoy as clubbing as I do going to say a pub or a bar with music, but it's just the thing I've loved about life lately is for me personally, I didn't suffer in lockdown because obviously I was in a steady income job where I was very privileged to go in every day, because obviously the work I do, if you're not aware, I work in an office, and obviously I was forced to come in because obviously we need to do work on the computer screen and everything. But I was very privileged to go in, and obviously I managed to save a hell of a lot of money and obviously look after myself. But obviously with the two lockdowns we had in 2020 and 2021, where eventually 2021 we was able to go out and do things, it's given me a whole new perspective on life. I mean, life in general has been very blessed for me. I've been in such a privileged position where I've been able to do YouTube, I've been able to buy stuff, socialise with friends, meet people, but it's really given me a whole new perspective on life. And I've always just looked at it now saying, you've got one life, go out there and fucking live it. If you want to go out and drink, go out and drink. If you want to go out and party, go out and party. Just live it while we're still active doing stuff. Go out there and fucking live it. If you want to smoke a cigar, or have a party. Just go out and live it. And as I said, since January of this year, January, February, March, April, and obviously hopefully May, I've managed to interact with so many good people, whether it be in a bar, like a local bar, like a Weatherspoons, or other bars I've been to. I mean, I've been to other places like, and obviously I go to other places like places in my area. So there's bars where I live in Malden, Kingston, Epsom, Sutton. So many people from different areas, such as people from Kingston, Epsom, Wimbledon, Malden, Sutton, coming together, one thing, meeting up, having a good time. And it's been brilliant. People have been chatting to on the dance floor. People have been chatting to on nights out and everything. It's been brilliant. It's opened a whole new perspective on life, and it's been brilliant. Like I say, you got one life, fucking live it to the max. Like, just be a rock and roll star, enjoy it, drink, go out there and live it. And like I said, life has been brilliant. Like I said, YouTube, I've never had a problem with YouTube. You've always been there. It's been a scapegoat. It's been a good community aspect. But over the past new year, late 2021, life has been very good for me, I must say. Very, very good. Enjoying life, partying, drinking, having a laugh. Obviously being responsible as well, but just having a laugh and just seeing a whole new meaning in life. And hopefully the rest of YouTube this year and the other stuff that's going on is going to be great. So I just thought I'd give you an update on there. Like I said, life has been fucking brilliant, and I've loved every minute of it. And obviously the long may it continue as well. But yeah, that was just a little thing about me really at the end of the live stream. Like I said, I want to hopefully post more stuff on social media, the likes of Facebook as well, engage with my audience more, engage with YouTube. Like I said, let me know if you're interested, if I want to do any more vlogs and any more stuff to engage my subscribers. The Star Wars Conversations live streams, they'll obviously still be going ahead. I'm hopefully going to do a weekly live stream on Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I'm going to let you know that now. I can't promise you, but I'm hopefully going to get it over the line, which I'm, fingers crossed, I'm really hopefully going to do. So hopefully that'll be a weekly live stream where we discuss the recent episode, obviously, of Kenobi. We discuss about in detail, hopefully get a few guests on there and just go toe to toe, go in and talk about it really. So that's something I've got planned in mind. And like I said, channel, plenty more to come, more reviews, whether you wanted me to see do more vlogs. Like I said, there's going to be a Star Wars Mukbang that is going to be coming whenever I get the time to do it. Hopefully get a load of friends around and we just sit down, have a drink, eat up and just talk about Star Wars, get to see me in a different perspective of life and everything. And yeah, plenty to look forward to the channel. If you want to keep in touch with me, you can obviously subscribe to my channel on YouTube. That is Jedi Master 98. You can obviously follow me on Instagram if you are a subscriber or someone who wants to talk Star Wars, and please don't hesitate to message me on Instagram or Facebook Messenger through Jedi Master 98. Also, the links are in my description part of the YouTube channel. The community tab on YouTube, if you want to write stuff in there or write comments, and please don't hesitate to do that. I want to engage more with my so-called little fan base on YouTube. And if you want to see other stuff, then please don't hesitate to let me know. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, follow all my social medias. And I think that's pretty much it for the Book of Boba Fett live stream, Star Wars Conversations episode 20. I'd like to thank everyone for watching this review or live stream. And I hope you've enjoyed me talking about the Book of Boba Fett, and obviously just give you an update on what's going on with the YouTube channel and stuff in general. So yeah, again, stay tuned to the channel. We've got plenty more stuff to come. And yeah, I think we're going to call it a day. So yet again, thanks for everyone watching. Look after yourself. May the force be with you, and fingers crossed I can hopefully do some more live streams for you when I can. So yet again, thanks for everyone for watching. Look after yourself. Take care. And as always, may the force be with you. Thanks very much, guys.